Commies don't like to be asked difficult questions. As I've said many times on this channel, Irish politics today is a rigged game. It's a controlled democracy. It's a left-wing world. You can have any shade or flavour you like, so long as it's left of centre. Well, whilst the mainstream media and the government apparatchiks are constantly screaming about the so-called far right, the mythical far right, because they are a myth. There is no far right as such in Ireland, or if there is, there's about 5 of them, and they probably get together in a shed somewhere and do a bit of goose stepping around a rusty barrel or something of that nature. Whilst they're constantly screaming their heads off, writing articles, hit pieces and having bits on the TV about this mythical far right, nobody seems all that bothered or perplexed to any degree about what we do actually have in Ireland, which is the far left, the Marxists, communists if you want to go old school, which we have. We have varying degrees of left socialist-y type parties, ending, of course, with the far leftists, in this case, the People Before Profit Party, or as I call them, the People Before Gulags Party, because that's always where their policies inevitably end up, with gulags and people, probably like me, being sent there for, as they would term it, re-education. Now, they are essentially a rebranded communist party. They believe in stuff like the state just taking people's private property for the common good, all that kind of communist-y type stuff. And they have, for some reason, about 2% support among the general public. That's if you believe, again, the leftist mainstream media here. But for some reason, they seem to pop up all the time on mainstream media, TV and radio, and in various print articles, for a very tiny party, or a very tiny base of support. They seem to be everywhere. So that just, again, gives you an idea of how skewed the Irish landscape for media is. Whilst the chattering classes are constantly on the lookout, constantly have their radars on for the far right, they seem to have no issue, no problem. In fact, they fate and laud the far left, the Marxist, the actual Marxists. But something happened the other day which I found quite amusing. Now, it's safe to say there isn't all that much about the People Before Gulags, People Before Profit Party that I find all that amusing, but I did find this amusing because in any interactions that I've seen with these communists and the mainstream Irish media, be it RTE, be it various magazines, be it various radio stations and chat shows and question and answer shows, they always got treated with kid gloves. They always got an easy ride. Nobody ever really took them to task, which with far left Marxist communists should be, a slam dunk in my view. But here was a situation that arose the other day just outside Parliament on the Dáil plinth, as they say, where politicians come out and they do a bit of a question and answer session with whatever assembled journalists are there, and they take questions and they're given questions, and it's usually a pretty mundane affair. But as the saying goes, cometh the hour, cometh the man. And in the press corps on that particular day was Gript Media's legendary Ben Scallon, the man, the myth, the legend, a man who goes where angels fear to tread. And we need way much more of that in Ireland today, because that's all but gone in mainstream Irish journalism, because they're all just basically waiting for the phone to ring and it be a government minister or junior minister asking them to come on board with their team as a government advisor. The whole incestuous relationship between journalists, so-called, and politicians has gone completely haywire. But not in the case of Gript Media, and certainly not in the case of Ben Scallon. So Ben decided, as is his duty and as is his right, to pose his question to the People Before Gulag, People Before Profit representatives, represented on this occasion by Ruth Coppinger TD and Kojak, Paul Murphy TD.
Who loves you, baby?
No, sorry lads, you can edit that bit out. Paul Murphy looks nothing like Kojak. I mean, Telly Savalas was an attractive, masculine man. But anyway, I digress. So what happens when the communists, the far leftist Marxist brigade, are given an actual difficult question for a change from the Crest Corps? Well, let's see how that played out, shall we?
This morning, Justice Minister Jim O'Callaghan was saying that he reaffirmed the government's previous position of wanting to speed up deportations of failed asylum seekers who have not met the threshold after an examination. I'm wondering if you have any reaction to that remark by the Minister?
Not for Brit, no.
Sorry, what?
Not for Grit, I don't, no.
That's not really fair. He's a member of the press. If he's asking you a question...
I'm just saying I don't answer questions.
There's press freedom in this country and he's a member of the press. He's a member of the press council. They're asking you a question. That's not very fair.
Really? Yeah, a lot of things aren't very fair, and I don't think he needs you to stick up for him.
Well, I would hope that if the roles were reversed, someone would stick up for me. I don't think that's fair.
Aye.
You had a question, Jack? I might put a pin in that, actually. I mean, if you guys aren't willing to take questions, then maybe we can put them.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Right. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Grant, okay.
As Corporal Jones might have put it in Dad's army, they don't like it up 'em.
You see, they don't like it up 'em, so they do not like it up 'em.
And there you have a prime example of how the far leftists, the communists, the Marxists operate. They really don't like tough questions. And if they don't like you or your ideology or your political leanings, they just won't talk to you. In fact, they'd rather just have you carted off in the back of a van and re-educated. And I'm going to give absolute kudos and full props to the other two journalists here, one from the Irish Daily Mirror and one from the Irish Times, which, as you know, I don't have a lot of time for. But on this occasion, and I believe you should give kudos and you should give praise where praise and kudos is due. So Louise Byrne of the Irish Mirror and Jack Horgan-Jones of the Irish Times, take a bow on behalf of your entire profession, because you did us proud. Did us proud on that moment and showed these commies up for what they really are. Authoritarians who will not take any dissent, but you left them nowhere to go on this occasion.
That's not really fair. He's a member of the press. If he's asking you a question...
I'm just saying I don't answer questions.
There's press freedom in this country and he's a member of the press. He's a member of the press council. They're asking you a question. That's not very fair.
Really? Yeah, a lot of things aren't very fair, and I don't think he needs you to stick up for him.
Well, I would hope that if the roles were reversed, someone would stick up for me. I don't think that's fair.
Aye.
You had a question, Jack? I might put a pin in that, actually. I mean, if you guys aren't willing to take questions, then maybe we can put them.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Who loves you, baby?
If the conservative right in Ireland had any sense at all, they should make Ruth Coppinger there the poster child for the left. That woman's as mad as a box of frogs. As I think Paul Murphy, TD, fully understands.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Who loves you, baby?
Lads, you can't keep doing that. I'm going to have to go and watch a whole season of Kojak now, just as a palate cleanser. But full props, as I said, to Louise and Jack, because they shone a light where a light needed to be shone. And as Louise quite rightly pointed out, if the roles had been reversed, Ben Scallon would be the first guy to jump into the breach, to be in the trenches right there with you. You all know that. And why do you think channels, and there are many like them, like mine, who tackle difficult issues, why do you think people watch us? It's because journalists in general, mainstream journalists in general, will not go the places we go. They won't show you those interactions that you've just seen with the far left commies. RTE won't show that, the BBC won't show that, News Talk won't talk about that, but we will. So there's an absolute thirst, there's a hunger out there for real journalism, for just getting stuck in and going wherever that story leads. And elected politicians, elected officials, members of parliament refusing, point blank, to answer simple questions from members of the press corps because they don't like them, or because they don't like their views or their political leanings or their take on society in general. That's not on. No. We are elected by us. We pay your wages. We pay you to represent us. Yes, us, Joe Public, the public at large. So forget this whole, I'll answer questions from you, but I don't like you, and I'll take one question from you if I like the question. Those days should be gone. And bravo, I say, to all involved. Except, of course, Ruth Coppinger and Kojak. Paul Murphy, TD.